আসসালামু আলাইকুম। কেমন আছো সবাই? জি, আলহামদুলিল্লাহ ভালো। তো
আছি আলহামদুলিল্লাহ ভালো স্যার। আপনি কেমন আছেন?
let's start our class for today. This is a course of uh, breeder farm and hatchery management, right? The lab course. So in our first class we have discussed about the first experiment. Today we are going to start from this experiment, which is the flock uniformity, uh, particularly for the breeder flock. We must have heard the term uniformity in our earlier semesters, I guess, when you studied the broiler and layer production, perhaps in level 2. That time also, uniformity or flock uniformity supposed to be discussed. That is for those broiler and layer strains. But here we are going to discuss the uniformity for the breeder flock or breeder stocks. The thing is not so different though, but we will particularly focus on those things uh, or the importance of uniformity regarding egg production, because breeder flocks are supposed to reared for fertilized egg production. So what actually uniformity means? It is like we can call a flock of birds uniform when the individual birds are similar in size and weight. And if we consider laying hens, uniformity in egg production is significant because it will determine, laying hens means here the mm, breeder layers, because it will determine the productivity of chicks from our eggs. So if the eggs are uniform, then there is a greater chance of getting uniform chicks, and the demand of uniform chicks are greater in the market. So that have economical importance as well. So we would like to focus on the importance that uniformity carries for breeder flock. First point is that it ensures optimal reproductive performance. When the flock is uniform, it ensures that the breeder hens within the breeder flock reach sexual maturity uh, at the similar age. That means they start laying eggs together, right? This will result in a more synchronized reproductive cycle. That is meaning that they will come to production together, then there will be peak production together, there will be drop of production altogether, and there are other things like we know there will be molting, and we have to vaccinate the birds at different ages. So those vaccination time would be similar to all birds as well if they are similar in age, right? So this is one of the criteria, and this is the benefit of having uniform flock. All this allow for better management of egg production and ultimately hatch, which is our target from our breeder stock egg. Then another importance is that it ensure consistent egg production. How is that? That if the birds are in similar age and similar physiological development stage, uh, they are more likely to lay eggs at a similar rate. Likely, I just mentioned that they will come to production together, they will go to peak production altogether, and there will have a decrease in production, egg production altogether. So uh, it will facilitate a steady and predictable supply of fertile eggs for hatching. So this will ensure that we will be able to predict if we have 10,000 of breeder flock laying birds, then we will be able to predict how much egg fertile egg is we are going to make uh, in the upcoming maybe 1 month or upcoming second month, etc. এটার ইম্পর্টেন্সটা হচ্ছে আম, তোমরা জেনে থাকবা যে রিনাউন্ড যে চিক সেলিং ফ্যাসিলিটি গুলো আছে বা যারা চিক সেল করে কোম্পানিগুলো তাদের বাচ্চাগুলো কিন্তু 1 মাস 2 মাস আগেই বিক্রি হয়ে থাকে, কিন্তু 1 মাস 2 মাস আগে যে বাচ্চা বুকিং হয়েছে সেই বাচ্চা তো যখন বুকিং হয়েছে তখন সেই ডিমটাও তৈরি হয়নি, তাই না? সেই ডিম তৈরি হওয়ার আগেই সেই বাচ্চা কোম্পানি অলরেডি বুকিং নিয়ে রেখেছে। ধরো যে সাপোজ 1 lakh pieces of chicks have been booked already. How do they know they will have 1 lakh chicks at that day? ওই দিন তাদের কাছে 1 লাখ বাচ্চা থাকবে এটা কিভাবে জানে? They know it because they have all the records of their breeder stock, or breeder laying birds এর record আছে at which age they are, at that time how many eggs are going to be produced from that flock. So if the flock is uniform, we can predict it accurately. That is the importance talked here. Then as well, the hatchability as well is influenced by the flock uniformity. If our flock is uniform, we are supposed to get a uniform sized egg, তাই না? একই সাইজের egg আসার কথা, and it is an advantage for the incubation process if we have uniform eggs. আমাদের যদি egg uniform হয়, that is an advantage when we set the eggs for incubation or for hatching, and that positively affect the hatchability. eh? So I know you guys know the meaning of hatchability, that the percentage of fertile eggs uh, being hatched out, or the percentage of eggs that produce chicks. যতগুলো নিষিক্ত ডিম থেকে, ফর এক্সাম্পল 100টা নিষিক্ত ডিম থেকে যদি 80টা বাচ্চা উৎপাদন হয় তাহলে সেই ডিমের হ্যাচাবিলিটি আমরা বলবো 80%. So anything above 90% is preferable for commercial hatching facilities. And all these uniformity characteristics simplify the management practices. As we know, the management will become straightforward because the tasks such as feeding, I mean the nutrient requirement for those birds, the vaccination schedule, everything would be similar. And uh, I mentioned already the molting will be at the same time as well. So during molting, we have to alter the nutrient content of the feeds. That will be also easier for the uh, practitioners or for the stock person of your farm. And uniformity reduce cannibalism and aggression. So we know cannibalism is the picking of maybe tail or toe of another birds, and or vent as well. So what happens that one bird attack another and they start to eat up the sensitive portion of another bird. That is what is known as the cannibalism. And aggression, they shows aggression because you guys must know that the breeder uh, birds are relatively larger in size, so they try to have a dominancy over other birds. So if the size of the birds is not uniform, some of the birds are really big and heavier and some of them are weaker and smaller, then there will be a pecking order. Hmm. Or there will be a hierarchy that the larger bird will try to dominate and they will show aggression over other birds. They will mm, start the cannibalism as well. So these can be removed when the birds are of similar size, so they cannot have superiority over others mostly, but there will be still some cases, because as we know that birds or any other animals of similar size still may have different behavior, still may show more aggression, but it will be reduced to a greater extent. That is why uniformity is important. And it will facilitate the vaccination program, because if the birds are of similar size, then we know that all the birds will get, as for example, if they are 1.5 kilograms each, uh, they are supposed to get one vaccine, 1 ml per bird. But if there are size differences, some are 3 kilos, some are 1 kilo, some are below 1 kilo, then we have to adjust the vaccination volume again and again according to the size of the birds. So that is how it the uniformity affect the vaccination program as well. And if the flock is uniform, that means they will need similar nutrition uh, for that period of time. So it will be easier for the farm manager or the supervisor to optimize the nutrient requirement of the birds accordingly, and that will ultimately affect the feed conversion efficiency or feed conversion ratio, which is really important for broiler layer and breeder stock all cases, because the feed cost is the major cost, as we know, for any operation related to animal production. Then enhanced breeding program success is also related to the flock uniformity. Breeding programs aims to improve specific traits, and a uniform flock helps in accurately assessing the selecting birds based on those desired traits. Um, এখানে যেটা বলা হয়েছে যে if we are doing the uh, a breeding program for the parent stock, অথবা আমরা যাদেরকে ব্রিডার স্টক বলছি, সেখানে যদি অ্যাকচুয়ালি প্যারেন্ট স্টক থেকে ব্রিডিং প্রোগ্রাম করা হয় না, ফ্রম গ্র্যান্ড প্যারেন্ট স্টক, হ্যাঁ, GPP, yeah. From GPP, if we are doing some breeding practices to produce the grandparents, GP, then if the GPP stock is uniform, then it will be easier for us to select the birds of desired characteristics. Although this is always not correct, because if we have variation, then we can go for the superior criteria, but too much variation will not create a uniform flock later on. That is why they also focus on having a uniform breeder stock or grandparent stock. um, and lastly, the improve marketability. So we have already mentioned that if the flocks are uniform, there will be production of similar sized egg, and those similar sized egg is supposed to give chicks with similar weight, right? So those chicks with similar weight are called the uniform chicks. And poultry producers often seek consistency in size, weight, and quality when selling day old chicks or hatching eggs. So uniform flock will facilitate this also. These are the importance we want to talk about, the importance of uniformity in a breeder flock. Now the question comes, what to do when the flock is not uniform? So in case of broiler and layer strains, we know that we go for directly feed manipulation or feed nutrient manipulation to treat the flock if that is not uniform. But in case of the breeder flock, we also do have to control the nutritional aspect, but we also have to go through a thorough assessment. Thorough assessment, because um, for the broiler strain or layer strain, that may be for only one generation, right? If they are not uniform, that will hamper the productivity, the economic, um, I mean, riskiness for only one time, for that stock only. But for the breeder stock, if it is not uniform, then it will affect several generations. I mean, as long as they are producing eggs, and as long as we are producing chicks from those eggs, that all those eggs produced chicks will not be uniform, and there will be problem in the distributed farms where we distribute the broiler or layer, তাই না? কাজেই এই ধরনের প্রবলেম গুলো থেকে বাঁচার জন্য we have to do some um, um, assessment first and then take action. So when the flock is not uniform, we have to conduct a thorough assessment. So what does that assessment include? It includes, uh, is there any variation in age? Is there any variation in the genetics of the birds we are rearing? If their health status is too different, or the nutrition they are receiving is too different, or the management practice is different. Because many of the time, if the farm shed is too big, অনেক বড় হলে in commercial setup, then portion of shed is being controlled by one uh, employee, and another portion may controlled by another set of employees. So there may be some managemental variation in between these two sections, so the flock may get not uniformed or ununiform. In those cases the management can differ, and they, if they are using different kind of feeds in different portion of the shed, একটা শেডের বিভিন্ন জায়গায় বিভিন্ন ধরনের খাবার ব্যবহার করছে, then there will be problem related to nutrition, and the birds may not become uniform. Then their health status also may affect how, as for example, some of the birds are not getting access to feed, ভালোভাবে ফিডের অ্যাক্সেস পাচ্ছে না, and they are not getting access to water. Maybe the water trough or the water nipple is jammed somehow, or bacterial contamination. So that on that spot the birds will be of not a good, will be not in a good health status. So that will also affect the uniformity of the shades. And of course we know about these two things, that we always need to consider that the in one shade, and if possible in all the nearby shades which are adjacent to each other, the age group of birds should be similar. Hmm? And they should come inside together, and they should be culled together, culled or marketing, whatever you say. So this process we call is the all in all out system. All the birds will be come together and they will be marketed together, so all in all out system. This is really important for animal production, particularly for bird production, for having biosecurity, successful biosecurity program. And the genetics as well. We cannot rear different species of bird together. Even rearing two different breeds of chicken is also not recommended. In fact, should not be done, because different genetics or different breeds of chicken have different production capability. So some will grow faster, some may not grow faster, and that will cause problem in our uniformity checkups. So these are the things we have to go through if we see any symptom of ununiformity in our flocks. And we have to review the feeding program, that includes the nutritional demand of the birds, whether we are fulfilling the nutritional demand of the birds or not, whether all the birds are getting the similar nutritional concentrated feed or not, and as well whether the feeder, yeah, from where they pick up the feeds, whether the feeders are accessible to all birds or not. অনেক সময় দেখা যাবে যে ফিড নিউট্রিশনও ঠিক আছে, ফিডের অ্যামাউন্টও ঠিক আছে, বাট the birds are not capable of getting to the feeders. শেডের একটা পোর্শনে হয়তো ফিডারটা বেশি একটু উপরে দেওয়া আছে, ওখানে বার্ড গুলো অ্যাক্সেস করতে পারছে না, এই ধরনের সমস্যা হতে পারে, কাজে we have to look at these points. Then we have to look for the health status of the birds. Is there any disease condition, or is there any condition that impact growth rate or reproductive performance that will also affect the uniformity of our flock. Then if we have some non-conforming birds, we need to cull them. What are those non-conforming birds? Those are uh, uh, I mean visibly identifiable, like too small, আমরা দেখে বুঝতে পারছি, or too large, or exhibit health issues, like they are trying to stay separate from the flock, দূরে যায় দাঁড়িয়ে আছে অথবা পাখার নিচে মাথা দিয়ে দাঁড়িয়ে আছে. So those are the symptoms of diseases, or we may find some of the birds having diarrhea. So we have to be careful, and we have to remove these non-conforming birds as soon as we see it, and we have to take prompt action as well. And another way is to implement selective breeding practices. So if we are rearing the parent stock, we do not have choice, we cannot do the breeding practice. But if we are rearing the grandparent stock, then we have choice that we can go for the selective breeding practice, so that only uniform birds are being mated and they produce chicks with uniformity that will result in ultimate uniformity in the commercial stock. Then one more important thing is the optimize the lighting programs. We know for the egg laying birds, lighting is a major issue. So lighting is a major issue for the birds. I hope you may have this topic in your theory course this semester, that how lighting affect the uh, egg production. If not in this semester, I think you have already read in semester 2 or 2-1 maybe, the effect of lighting on egg production in the laying birds. So that is the thing is that the for laying of eggs, bird need at least a specific period of time where there will be light, either the daylight, or if the daylight is less, then at least there should be facility of artificial lighting. So for laying birds, if there is any problem with the lighting program, we have to optimize them so that the birds start to lay at the predefined age, or according to the manual of the breed. So ensure that lighting programs are well managed to stimulate uniform reproductive development, so that all the pullets become mature together. Proper lighting schedules can help synchronize the onset of sexual maturity and then egg production. And manage group composition. That means pay attention to the grouping of birds within the breeder house. If there are significant age differences, consider reorganizing or regrouping the birds, and if possible try to use the similar aged birds. And we have to monitor and record take record of the data, so that anytime we can analyze those data and we can understand if there is any problem or where from that problem was generated. সো আমরা যেন ডেটা থেকে অ্যানালাইজ করে বের করতে পারি যে যদি কোনো সমস্যা হয় এটা কোথায় থেকে হয়েছিল, and for the next cycle we have to be careful so that the problem doesn't appear again. And consult with poultry experts. You are going to be the poultry experts in future, so people will consult with you, I think. And implement training programs. Ensure that farm personnel are adequately trained in the principles of poultry management. As a owner, you need to make sure that all the employees working in your farm, in addition to the supervisor and manager, they have to be well trained. If they are not trained beforehand, you should make a facility so that they learn from you or from some training organization how to rear or how to handle the birds. Okay, that is the end of our experiment number 2. Now this is the experiment number 3, which we'll discuss about the nutrient requirement at different stages of broiler and layer breeder stocks. So I will skip this experiment for now because I will improve this one and then I will deliver to you in our upcoming any class. So after improvement, I will share with you again that one. Now the experiment number 4 is the different parts of an incubator. You guys know what incubator is, and this is the machine or facility where artificial incubation is done. And what is the incubation? Incubation is the process of providing heat and a constant humidity or a certain environment for the eggs so that they hatch, তাই না? এমন একটা পরিবেশ দেওয়া যাতে ডিমগুলো ফুটে বাচ্চা বের হয়. This is what is called incubation. And if we are doing it using any machine artificially, that is called, the machine is called the incubator. And usually we place the incubator, or the incubator is placed within the facility which is called the hatchery. হ্যাচারি বলা হয় যেখানে ইনকিউবেটর থাকে, যেখান থেকে আমরা বাচ্চা উৎপাদন করে থাকি মূলত. In many cases the breeder farm and hatchery, they use the, I mean they are in the same territory. একই বাউন্ডারির ভেতরে অনেক সময় হ্যাচারি এবং ব্রিডার ফার্ম এবং হ্যাচারি থাকে. So the breeder farm is responsible for producing fertile eggs, and then hatchery is responsible to produce chicks from those eggs. But due to biosecurity concerns and due to the like level of activity, there are a huge activity in the breeder farm as well and in the hatchery as well. So as they become complicated, very large scale operation, they are not merged. Tara merged na, they have separate breeder farm and separate hatchery. And it is also true in many of the cases that some of the breeder farm, they may not have hatchery, so they sell the fertile eggs to the hatchery. Hmm? And many of the hatchery may not have the breeder farm as well, so they seek to buy fertile eggs from different breeder farms. So whatever the hatchery is a facility or establishment that is dedicated to the artificial incubation of fertilized eggs to produce chicks. So কৃত্রিমভাবে ডিমে তা দিয়ে ডিম থেকে বাচ্চা ফোটানোর যে ফ্যাসিলিটিটা বা এস্টাবলিশমেন্টটা ওভারঅল সেটাকে হ্যাচারি বলা হয়। And the machine we use to do so is the incubator. So an incubator is a specific piece of equipment that is used for the artificial incubation of eggs. And how the incubation is done? By providing controlled environment, the temperature, humidity, airflow, turning, etc., so that the embryo develop within the fertilized egg. আমরা এমন condition দেই so the embryo can develop within the fertilized eggs. Now we have to discuss about the key parts of an incubator. একটা ইনকিউবেটরে কি কি পার্টস থাকে? Before like reading these statements, yeah, it would be better to have a view of the photo of an incubator here. So as we can see, this is looks like a cabinet, right? A cabinet. It is actually sometimes called the frame or cabinet as well. Cabinet of the incubator, the whole thing, the outer portion, outer covering. The function of the cabinet is to hold the temperature and humidity constant inside the incubator. These are the doors. So once we close the doors, we want that the inside temperature and humidity is controlled. So the door makes sure the insulation, makes sure of the insulation. And there are back portion and side walls as well. So all those are insulated so that the inner heat and humidity cannot pass out very easily. So other than the cabinet, here we have a window like a structure here and here as well. So depending on the type of incubator, we may have one door, we may have two or double doors, we may have slide doors, we may have this kind of doors as well. So this is a window which is known as the view window. The function of this window that the operator can watch inside when the door is closed. Still he can see inside what is going on. Is there is the if the exhaust fan is running or not, this one, the big fan, running or not, or if the turning is occurring hourly or not, mm, and etc. Everything for outer, yeah, is there any breakage of eggs, etc. We can see from this view window. We have exhaust fan here, although the spelling is wrong here. The correct spelling would be EXHAUST. EX, there will be a one H, additional H. EXHAUST, and do not put this ED here, exhaust fan. And we have uh, here one panel which is called the automatic controller. এখানে একটা প্যানেল আছে which is the, I mean, bunch of some switches, some like power on off switch, maybe temperature increase decrease or humidity increase decrease switch. This is known as the panel or controller. Then inside we have one motor as well, which regulate the egg turning system. So it is called the egg turning system. That motor generate power to turn the eggs right and left, up and down. Okay. Um, mm, okay, we'll try to see any video, and not today, maybe in our next class, how the eggs are turned inside the uh, incubator. And if you have time, you can also search in the YouTube. You can find easily that the turning of eggs inside incubator. And inside we have also do have temperature sensor, humidity sensor, etc. Several sensors, so that we can control if the temperature and humidity is going out of control. We may have some alarm system. Then we'll come to know that something is wrong. We can control accordingly using the control panel here. These are quite large type of egg incubator, but we have home type of egg incubator as well, smaller, maybe capable of hatching 200 or 300 eggs only. So these are called home type incubator. They do also have the similar equipments, eh, because we need to control the temperature, humidity, airflow, etc. here as well. So we have the controller, we have the temperature fan or the fan, we have egg tray, and we have hatcher basket. So I want to introduce these two things to you. You might have uh, read already in your theory portion that this egg tray also called the uh, setting tray. Okay, egg tray আরেকটা নাম হচ্ছে setting tray. Mostly they are known by setting tray, and this is the hatching tray. Okay, setting tray and hatching tray. So in this kind of incubator, we may have hatching tray above and setting tray on the bottom. But in case of this kind of large scale incubators, we have the setter and hatcher different. Suppose this is the setter, and we may have another cabinet like this, that is the hatcher. Okay, so this is the setting and hatching tray. We have a humidity system to control the humidity inside, and we have the cabinet structure, steel plate. There are sensors to let us know about the temperature and humidity inside, egg turning facility, etc. Exhaust fan. So these are the facility also have in the home type incubator as well. So now we can discuss about the key parts of an incubator. The cabinet itself, we already know what is the cabinet, the temperature control system. So there are sensors inside, we know, maybe thermostat that will give us the reading of temperature inside. So if the temperature is not optimum, below or above standard, then we can control the temperature using the control panel, right? As well as the humidity as well. And for humidity, in some cases where there is there are heat inside, as you know, then incubator ভেতরে একটু warm temperature থাকে. I mean not warm, we can call it a bit hot, একটু গরম environment থাকে. So there is scarcity of water inside or humidity inside. So, in case of large scale incubator, there are water reservoirs or humidification device inside. But in case of smaller uh, or locally made incubators, we may not have the humidification system inside. So we can put one tray of water inside. আমরা ভেতরে স্বাভাবিক তাপমাত্রার একটা ট্রে রাখতে পারি, and we have to look when the water is evaporated, we have to give another tray of water inside, so that there is no scarcity of humidity. But the humidity need to be controlled as well. It should not go beyond 80%, right? Particularly during the first stage, the humidity should not go beyond maybe 60% as well. So we have to control the humidity as well, so not too much water, or not in every portion we can put water. For that reason, many of the farmers use the sack, বস্তা আছে না, বস্তা ভিজিয়ে ইনকিউবেটরের নিচের দিকে রেখে দেয়, যে ওখান থেকে ধীরে ধীরে পানি ইভাপোরেটেড হবে। ওকে, likely this, or towel, wet towel. These are very, I mean, local way to control or give some humidity inside. Then the ventilation system to maintain the airflow inside the uh, incubator, because there are a lot of chicks uh, within the eggs, or the developing embryos. They need oxygen constantly, right? And they inhale, so they also exclude carbon dioxide. So we need to take out the carbon dioxide from the incubator and put some new oxygen. So that is why the ventilation system is very important. The egg turning mechanism, টার্নিংটা কেন করা হয় তোমরা নিশ্চয়ই জানো, যে টার্নিং ইজ নেসেসারি বিকজ so that every portion of the egg get equal temperature, তাই না? The heat source may be on the bottom, maybe on the side, maybe on the uh, back wall. Although modern large scale incubator have a very good heat distribution system, but in case that is not true for all type of incubator, তাই না? কিছু পুরাতন ইনকিউবেটর আছে, হোম টাইপ ইনকিউবেটর আছে, that may have heat source at only one side of the incubator. So the turning ensures that all side of the egg is heated properly. And also, if the egg is not turned, egg যদি টার্ন না করা হয়, then একই পজিশনে থাকলে the egg yolk, it is stick to the, or the developing embryo, it is stick to the inner shell membrane of eggs, ভেতরের যে শেল মেমব্রেন থাকে সেটার সাথে স্টিক হয়ে যায়, and then the embryo cannot develop properly and eventually it dies. That is why turning is really important. So there is turning mechanism inside incubator as well. And in large scale incubators, we have the candling device facility as well. So uh, maybe we can, uh, you must know the candling. This is the process through which we use light so that we can see the inner contents of egg. Egg ভেতরের content দেখতে পারি, and that is how we judge whether the egg is fertile or not, or whether the embryo is growing inside or not, or whether the uh, fertilized egg is already rotten or not, হ্যাঁ, নষ্ট হয়ে পচে গেছে কিনা, এগুলো আমরা ক্যান্ডলিং এর মাধ্যমে জানতে পারি। So my suggestion to you is to look for video of candling as well, so it will clear the concept, both turning and candling, হ্যাঁ, একবার দেখলেই কিন্তু একদম ক্লিয়ার হয়ে যাবে, কাজে ভিডিও দেখা উচিত। Actually, I forgot to put video. It would have been better to share here directly. Then the egg trays or racks, we know the setter tray or setting tray, hatching tray we have to facilitate the hatching process. The control panel through which we can control the temperature, humidity, and other things, or fan speed. Then the larger scale incubators have alarm systems in case of any deviation from the preset temperature or humidity or airflow. that gives alarm so that we can run there and we can fix the problem. Egg inspection and access point, which is the view window we have just seen in the other photo. The access point is some place not commonly present in all incubators, but in some cases there may be a portion where can, without opening the gate of the incubator, we can put our hand inside and we can do some manual turning, হাত দিয়ে টার্নিং করে দিতে পারি অথবা ভেতরে কোনো হুম so this is what is the access point. Then automatic egg turning timer. So as we know, the egg should be turned eventually. In the automatic system, the eggs are turned every hour, in fact. Okay. So the eggs are turned every hour in the automatic incubators, but for manual system, maybe three or no, three is less, maybe 5 times a day. ম্যানুয়াল সিস্টেমে মোটামুটি 5 বারের মতো টার্নিং করলেই হয়, বাট বেটার টু টার্ন আ লট। দ্যাট ইজ হোয়াই অটোমেটিক সিস্টেমে প্রতি 45 মিনিট পর পর বা 1 ঘন্টা পর পর একবার করে টার্নিং হয়। So this is automated and there are automatic egg turning timers. When the time clicks after every 1 hour, the turning takes place automatically. And we may have some additional power supply for in case of any uh, I mean load shedding or natural calamities, so then we need to have constant power supply, so we should have one alternative power source for our chicks. These are the equipments, and lastly for this chapter is the some information regarding chicken egg incubation. Now, depending on the species of birds, the incubation parameters will change, including the incubation period itself, then the temperature required, the humidity required, etc. Everything will be changed. But as we have almost all facility related to incubator that relates chicken egg, that is why we will discuss the chicken egg here also only. But if you have interest on incubating other eggs as well, you can have study from other sources maybe, that will help, because the principles are same, only some of the parameters are different. The optimum temperature for chicken egg in the setter. So setter এবং হ্যাচার হচ্ছে, সেটার যেখানে সেটিং এগ দেওয়া, সেটিং ট্রেতে ডিম রাখা হয় সেটাকে সেটার পোর্শন বলে, আর যে পোর্শনে হ্যাচিং ট্রে দেওয়া হয় সেটাকে হ্যাচার বলে, হ্যাচিং পোর্শন বলে। কাজে এখানে সেটার বলতে ওই পোর্শনটা বোঝানো হচ্ছে যেখানে সেটিং ট্রে থাকে এবং ডিম থাকে। And for chicken egg, this setting period is 18 days. So 18 days, and the hatching period is 3 days, altogether 21 days. So during this setting period, the temperature ranges from 99.5 to 99.75 degree Fahrenheit, or at this degree Celsius. And in the hatcher, the temperature is reduced a bit, which is around 1 degree Fahrenheit reduction, 98.5 degree Celsius. or 1 degree Celsius reduction. So this is the temperature for chicken egg incubation. The humidity is around 50 to 55% in the setter for first 18 days, and at the end for last 3 days in the hatcher it goes up to 80%, 65 to 75% to be exact. Then the turning, the chicken egg need to be regularly turned during the incubation process to prevent the embryos from sticking to the inner membrane of the eggshell. Eggs should be turned at least 3 to 5 times per day until the last 3 days. So শুধুমাত্র setting period for the first 18 days the egg should be turned, but when they goes to hatcher there is no more turning because they should be stopped, and the turning should be stopped to allow the embryos to position themselves for hatching. এই সময় টার্নিং করা হয় না যাতে এমব্রায়ো গুলো নিজেদেরকে তৈরি করতে পারে এবং পজিশন নিতে পারে হ্যাচিং এর জন্য, ঠিক আছে? So it it is done by themselves, so we need not to put any burden here. And for the candling of chicken eggs we do at 7 days, at 14 and 18 days of incubation. So during 7 and 14 days we do, and during 18 days when we transfer from setting tray to hatching tray, then we look once again, because at day 7 we look for which eggs are fertile, which are not fertile. By day 7 candling we can tell the difference easily. So if the eggs are fertile we keep those, and for those eggs which are not fertile those goes to the বেকারি ফ্যাসিলিটি, বেকারিতে চলে যায় এবং বেকারিতে এই 7 days incubated eggs they are used for different bakery items with no issue, কোনো সমস্যা নেই. At day 14 when we do the candling then this time we will find some of the embryos died already. সো যেহেতু আমরা শুধু ফার্টাইল এগ গুলোই রেখেছিলাম 7 দিনে বাছাই করে, এখানে নন ফার্টাইল এগ পাওয়ার কোনো কারণ নেই day 14, but we will find some of the eggs are rotten or the embryos have died so that the eggs are rotten. So at this point we cannot use this egg, we have to throw this egg, and as likely as day 18 as well the eggs are being thrown. In some cases day 14 eggs are used for different kind of feed production, animal protein feed প্রোডাকশনের জন্য নেওয়া হয় অনেক সময়, ডিপেন্ডিং অন দ্য স্ট্যাটাস অফ দ্য এগ, মানে কতটুকু রোট হয়েছে তার উপর ডিপেন্ড করে অনেক সময় এটা ইউজ করা হয়ে থাকে, although not recommended. So that is all. I think this is a picture, sample picture of a Chinese incubator here. This is a large scale incubator. It has slide doors, and as you can see the setting tray, it is going inside with wheels, so very easy to control. And the facility these tray provide that each of the tray is removable, so that the cleaning is very easy, because we need to clean the both hatching and setting tray very carefully, and it need to be neat and clean for every new set of eggs. That is why removal of these trays is very important, and they are usually portable and removable each part. So as we can see, this is the facility, the egg setting tray, and here we can see a sample picture of eggs being turned. ডিমগুলো কিন্তু একেবারে সোজা অবস্থায় নেই, এগুলো কিছুটা টার্ন হয়ে সামনের দিকে টিল্ট হয়েছে, and as you can see the পার্শ্ববর্তী যে ট্রে গুলো দেখা যাচ্ছে এখানে আবার রিভার্স ওয়েতে এগুলো কিন্তু টার্ন হয়েছে। Whatever, you can find some video and have a proper idea regarding turning and candling. And that is all for today's lecture. Next class, uh, we can have tomorrow or next week. What do you prefer? তোমরা কি চাও, আগামীকাল করবা, নেক্সট নেক্সট উইক করবা? Just incubation, selection, hatching eggs, constriction, also 7, 8. Okay, we can have next week, because if we cover two experiment each day, that it won't take too much time. So maybe next week we meet again, either Thursday or the same Wednesday. It depends. I will let you know. Now, is there any question regarding today's lecture? 54. Okay, so I guess no question for now, but you can read through and may arise question later on. So later on you can ask me. So hope to see you in next week. Goodbye.